Assalamualaikum, can you hear me?
Salam. Can you? And Prof. Good evening.
Assalam.
Welcome back. Okay. That's 6, good. Let's see how many people are here. 15 people. We have about another 7 more, 8 more to join us. Anyway, today we'll be discussing a rather important topic about organizational culture, which to me is one of the foundations of the organization because it spells out how people behave in an organization. But let us hear the presentation first for now, and then we'll have our discussions later on. So the group, are you ready to present?
Yes, Prof.
All right.
Yes, Prof. Inshallah.
Let me allow you to share your screen.
Okay.
All right.
Not sure if everyone can see it.
You can see it.
I can see.
Yes, I
Alright.
can.
We'll be sharing the slides after the class. Don't you all mind?
Okay, maybe can close the animation pane so that the slide will
Okay,
be
okay.
wider.
Thank you, Nat.
Can we start?
Yes, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good evening, Dr. Kidi and friends. Okay, today is our group turn to do the presentation. Okay, for those who did not start yet writing the second assignment, so you can pay more attention on this topic because we are presenting the topic of organizational culture. Okay, next. Okay, we'll be covering a few topics, a few points under the organizational culture, and includes the definitions, and then we'll be covering about the sign of culture, and the third one is the dominant culture, subculture, and also counterculture, and the fourth one is the function of OC, and then the fifth is the model of OC. Okay, next. We also will be focusing on the dimension of OC, and then the 7 is the development of OC, and then the strength of OC, and the last one is the factors of influencing OC. Okay. Next. Okay, before I go to the definition of organization and also culture and also organizational culture. This is according to Forbes, the best companies with their corporate culture in 2019, which is the first is Microsoft, where their corporate culture is their consistent effort to be transparent and have a diverse work culture. And people are encouraged to speak up and solve problems. And the second one is Zoom. Okay, their corporate culture is like literally every single person you come in contact with on a daily basis love working at Zoom. It is culture that you cannot only see, but one you can feel. Okay, the last one is ADP. Actually, ADP is automatic data processing. It's actually an American provider, human resource management software and service. And their culture is is a great work-life balance and recognition that life happens both inside and outside of work. Okay, diversity is definitely embraced and appreciated, and there is a spirit of charity and acceptance. Okay, this is an example. Okay, next one, we go to the definition. The first one is a definition of organization. Actually, there's a few definition about organization, but we chose this Coons and O'Donnell, which stated that organization is a structural relationship by which an enterprise is bound together and the framework in which individual effort is coordinated. And the second one we choose from Louis A. Allen. They said it is a process of identifying and grouping the work to be performed, defining and delegating the responsibility and authority, and establish the relationship for the purpose of enabling people to work most effectively together in accomplish common objective. Okay. Next one, the definition of culture. Okay, we choose from Lustig and Coister. Culture is a learned set of shared interpretation about belief, value, norms, and social practices, and in which it affects the behavior of a relatively large group of people. And the famous one is from Edward Schein. Culture defined, it is a pattern of shared basic assumption learned by a group as it solves its problem of external adaptation and internal integration, which has worked well enough to be considered valid and therefore to be taught to new members as the correct way to perceive, think, and feel in relation to those problems. Okay, and the next one is organizational culture definition. Okay, you can see from the School of Culture, they define it as the way we do things around here. And then from Charles O'Reilly and Jennifer Chapman, organizational culture can be viewed as a system of shared values, define what is important and norms, define appropriate attitudes and behaviors that guide members' attitudes and behavior. And if you can see from the left-hand side, that is an element that consists in organizational culture. Okay, next. Okay, this is a sign of culture. Okay, sign of culture. Actually, it has manifest itself in some visible aspect of the organization's environment. Okay, I would like to share about Von Balkis back sign of culture. Yes. Okay. I would like to share about Bawal Exclusive. Okay, Bawal Exclusive is one of scarf that is famous among women. Okay, their mission statement is clear that they sell a bawal which have a Swarovski. That is stated in their mission statement. Okay, for their rituals, each year when they have annual dinner, they'll be wearing a bawal exclusive to the gala dinner. Okay, the next one is the rules and policy. Like every other organization, Bawal Exclusive set their policy that pricing are made by the HQ in Puchong. Okay. The next one is physical layout. For Bawal Exclusive, their physical layout, if you have been there, they are full of mirror. So that is actually to accommodate the customers. Okay, the next one is stories and language. Okay, Bawal Exclusive, they have their own stories where their founders started the Bawal Exclusive business from house. Until now, they are very famous among women. Okay, and language, I can share with you. They share the same language when they're selling this Bawal Exclusive. If they say Bawal Mahkota, so they all already know what is Bawal Mahkota and what is Bawal Tabo, they already know. And few of customers also know about this. Okay, next is, next. Okay, actually this is, you can see this is a famous company in Malaysia. From their logos, you can tell what is the company and what are they are doing. And these are their motto. This is just like to share with you all. Okay, next. Okay, there are few culture that we would like to share, which is a dominant culture, subculture, and also counterculture. Okay, when you see this logo, okay, this is a dominant culture. You can tell what is Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Packers, and Alabama. And what I can say famous in Malaysia is Coca-Cola and McDonald's. You see this logo, they are most powerful, and you can know their well prestigious status and influence they've made in Malaysia. Okay, so they are very dominant. Okay, the next one is a subculture. Okay, actually subculture is a subset of culture. It's derived from culture itself. If you can see, it's actually within that society, and it's differentiated by its distinctive values, norm, and lifestyle. If you can see, the first picture is, this is a Gothic people where they wear black, their lipstick black, and they wear eyeliner. This make their difference from others. And the next one is bodybuilder. They are also different. They are distinctive from the others, which they have value, norms, and lifestyle. And the next one is a college student. They are different when they are in a group where they are footballers, or maybe they are in a team, in a class, where they wear a same t-shirt. That is, for example. And then the next one is counterculture. Okay, sorry, okay, counterculture. Okay, this is a group within society that openly reject and actively oppose society values and norm. Okay, this is the example of counterculture that we have, like they are doing something different from the others, like hippies, anti-war protesters, civil rights activists, and feminists, street gang, and also terrorists. Okay, I think that's all for my part. I pass it to my friend Mai. Please continue. Thank you.
Sorry, it's my turn. Okay, I will continue about functions of organizational culture. Okay, there are 4 main functions of organizational culture. The first one is culture helps to establish who the company is and what it stands for. It gives members an organizational identity. Ideally, employees should be proud to belong to a company who shares their values. The second one is culture helps to drive energy around what is really important. It facilitates collective commitment. Employees know they will be taken care of if they take care of their customers. Okay, the third one, culture helps to promote social system stability. A positive culture is more likely to be able to resolve conflict using a problem-focused approach rather than person-focused or blaming mentality. Okay, and the final one is culture helps to shape behavior by helping members make sense of their surroundings. Decisions made by the company that are consistent with the culture are easy for employees to understand. Performance is rewarded that is aligned with that corporate strategy and values. These are 4 main functions of organizational culture. Okay, next, models of organizational culture. There are many examples of models on organizational culture. However, we would like to focus on Schein's model. For your information, Edgar Schein is regarded by many scholars in the field as the most influential authority on organizational culture. He is the father of organizational culture, well renowned for his expertise and research in the field. Okay, this is Schein's model. Schein has identified 3 distinct levels of organizational culture. The first one is the artifacts, or known as anything that you observe, you see, you feel, or you hear. Okay, the second one is espoused belief. I hope I pronounce it right. Espoused beliefs and values. Okay, or known as what you are told. Okay. The third one is the underlying assumption. The underlying assumption also is something that what people take for granted. Okay, I will give you example after this. Okay, in Schein's book, he used the lily pond as a metaphor for levels of culture. If you can see the lily pond, the artifact is the lily. Okay, the espoused belief is something what you are told. Okay, the man here says that this pond uses only the finest organic fertilizer. So this is what we are told. How we want to know that he says the truth? It reflects or it produces at the artifacts. If the artifacts goes well, it means what it is told is correctly driven, like strategies, goals, rules, regulations, process. Okay. Okay. The third one is the underlying assumption, something that below the pond. Okay. This is what Schein used in his book, just as a metaphor. Okay. I believe that you all have come across the iceberg model or the onion model or shown in pyramid or triangle. Okay, don't worry, it is all the similar. The researcher used this diagram or this image just to facilitate the understanding on Schein's original model just now. Okay. I want to give an example in McDonald's. If we can see the artifacts, something that we can see, we hear or we feel. The first one is the physical layout. McDonald's building and restaurants layout is standardized. The restaurant's interior design and architecture, the place where menu board and advertisement board are displayed, the facilities like toilet, tables, chairs, used closely resembles to one restaurant to another. It's the same, standardized. Okay, the second one is symbols. We know the M logo and the slogan, I'm loving it. That is one of the example for artifacts. The third one is rituals. Everyone knows McDonald's songs. Okay, the fourth is the dress code. The employees' dress code, the uniform t-shirt, black pants, hat, and name tag. Okay, appearance. Employees' appearance, like they are allowed to wear limited size and amount of jewelry only. Hairstyle should not draw any attention. Long or artificial nails and fingernails polish are not permitted, and a clean shaven appearance is preferred on all males. That is what artifacts. So the espoused, what drive that all the artifacts I mentioned just now happen to be like that is the espoused values, the ideology, the strategies, the goals, philosophies, the rules, regulation. At last they produce at the artifacts. They shown at the artifacts. Okay, I give two examples of underlying assumptions. The first one, employees are important elements for the achievement in the market. So the effect from the assumption, large number of people from different nations are employed. Why? Because people know if they are get employed, the company will take good care of them. So the assumption is good. Okay. The second assumption, the second example is without a good customer service, it is incredibly hard for McDonald's to have a repeated sale. So the effect is the employees remain motivated in their work. Why? Because the employee know if they perform well, they will be rewarded. So these two assumptions is examples for a good assumption. If the assumption is good, so it will shown to their culture. Okay, I hope everybody is clear. Okay. Okay, I would like to share a study done by Sydney Yoshida called the iceberg of ignorance. The study found that senior level management is often so far removed from day-to-day business operations that they fail to understand the systems and the process that affect both employees and customers. Okay, the study concluded that executive level managers were only aware of 4% of day-to-day problems. Department managers were only aware of 9% of problems. Employees supervisor knew of 74% of problems, but the frontliner employees knew 100% of the problems. Okay. The most troubling aspect of this study findings is that the very people who have the responsibility and ability to solve problems seems to be the very ones who don't even know the problems exist from the employees who are responsible for serving the customers. So from this study, it is proven that the underlying assumptions play the crucial role of the organization, whether on its culture, performance, or leadership. Okay, the next one is I would like to share this cartoon. They are talking about the hat that they are wearing. So they don't know how it starts. All I know is that it's part of our corporate culture. Okay, if we look at this cartoon, this is a simple example that shows how the underlying culture is embedded in the organization that makes people follow it, although sometimes people don't know where and how it comes from. The organizations follow certain practices that are not discussed often, but understood by its own. This is the importance to explore the underlying assumptions to know what the real things is happening. Okay, I will continue on dimensions of organization culture. Okay, cultural value dimensions are constructs created by researchers to understand and predict human behavior in the cultural context and to compare human behaviors across two or more cultures. Okay, there are many examples of dimensions or characteristics of organizational culture that have been defined. However, we would like to focus on Hofstede dimension. Okay, the 6 dimensions are means-oriented versus goals-oriented, internally driven versus externally driven. The third one is easygoing work discipline versus the strict work discipline. The fourth, local versus professional. The fifth, open system versus the closed system. And finally, the employee orientation versus the work orientation. Okay, I will show examples on McDonald's again. We would like to show the 6 dimensions applied to McDonald's to facilitate understanding on how the dimension works. Okay. Sorry. Okay, the first one is means-oriented versus goals-oriented. Okay, the means-oriented mean-oriented organizational culture emphasizes over how the work is carried out. The mean orientation reflects the people's risk avoidance behavior. Meanwhile, goal-oriented culture emphasizes over the results and focus on what can be achieved. The goal orientation shows that people's risk orientation as they remain willing to achieve the desired results even if they involve certain risk. Okay, in McDonald's, they have shown that they has effectively accomplished the correct balance between the mean and the goal orientation, as it stressed the importance of meeting the targets and meanwhile allows the workers to take chance only if they are worthwhile. Okay. The second one is internally driven versus externally driven. Internally driven organizational culture reflects the employees' overall perceptions about their expertise and knowledge. The employees believe that they know the explicit and implicit needs of customers and act accordingly. The internally driven organizations place high importance to the ethics and integrity, and they do not compromise over these values to achieve the desired results. Okay, meanwhile, the externally driven organizational culture tend to focus on the results, and employees in such organization believe that meeting the customer's demands is more important than business ethics. Consequently, they adopt a more pragmatic rather ethical attitude. So in McDonald's, organizational culture is more internally than externally oriented. Despite of maintaining a timely reaction to evolving business demands, senior management freely communicates the value of ethical actions when reacting to consumer needs. Okay, the company shares a deep desire to integrate ethics and integrity into its daily practice. Okay, the third one is easygoing discipline versus strict work discipline. Company with an easygoing work discipline have the fluid structure with no strict hierarchies. The culture lacks the certainty and management can only exert a limited control to ensure the discipline. Such organizational culture is deemed favorable for promoting a creative and innovative work attitude. On the other hand, the companies with a strict work discipline tend to have strict hierarchies with high certainty. Management exerts the strong control and employees work in a disciplined work environment with serious attitude. In McDonald's, organizational culture indicates that the company is most closely tied to a disciplined work culture with a vertical hierarchy and a high structure. This means that management exercises the decision-making power and explicitly controls the working actions of workers. Creative and innovative work habits are encouraged by rewarding workers with a range of monetary and non-monetary incentives. Okay. The fourth dimension is local versus professional. In companies with a high degree local culture, the employees tend to identify themselves with their organizational units, teammates, colleagues, or their bosses. The focus remains internal and short-term, and employees have high desire for associations and relatedness to the people around them. The strong social control obliges the organizational members to behave alike each other. On the opposite side, in companies with a high degree professional culture, the employees tend to identify themselves with their profession or work content. They do not desire to behave alike others and have an external and long-term focus. In McDonald's, they encourage the professional attitude of its employees. There is no obligation to act in a certain way. Diversity is encouraged and variations are respected at McDonald's. It is done to make the best of the possibilities provided by such positive variations. Okay, the fifth dimension is open system versus the closed system. The organizations with open system tend to welcome the new employees and create an inclusive work culture in which employees from different demographic backgrounds can adjust easily. The organization keeps its door open to the outsiders and integrates the flexibility so that everyone can fit into it. Such organizations value the diversity and integrate it into their business practice. On the other hand, the organizations with closed service tend to make it difficult for newcomers to adjust and develop relatedness. People in such organizations are generally exclusive and diversity is discouraged, as only certain kinds of individuals are encouraged to join and fit well in the organization. In McDonald's, it indicates that the company has a strong tendency to the open side. There are open channels of contact in McDonald's, and the corporate culture is versatile and well diversified. The unique benefits of McDonald's is also its ability to maintain a heavily diversified workforce. Okay, the open cultural system has allowed McDonald's to maintain a high flow of information and to exploit the expertise, talents, and competencies of workers from a diverse background. Okay, finally, the sixth dimension, employee orientation versus work orientation. An organization with a clear employee orientation reflects the management philosophy of putting the employees ahead of customers and shareholders. It is the management philosophy and shares the high relatedness to contemporary era in which the human capital has gained the strategic importance. In an extremely work-oriented culture, the organizations tend to put excessive pressure on the staff and heavy emphasis is put on maximizing the task performance, even if it comes to at the cost of the broader employee welfare. Okay, in McDonald's management fully knows the importance of its human resource and therefore gives priority to employee happiness and inspiration. While employees are given demanding objectives, the management takes care of their issues and avoids pressurizing them, which can drive employees to burn out. The balance between the mission and the employee orientation is accomplished by the first one is assigning challenging tasks and providing incentives to improve the success of the task. Second one is supplying personnel with the required coaching, mentoring, and guidance to meet the given objectives. The third one, to prevent workers from making overtime a common practice in the workplace. And finally, motivating and teaching workers to handle stress and time, which is vital for both improving work performance and improving psychological well-being. Okay, my friend will continue the presentation.
Okay, hi, very good evening to Prof and everyone. I will continue this presentation with the topic development of organizational culture. Okay, according to Schein, learning and culture go hand in hand and are continuously being shaped. Culture is continuously being formed in the sense that there is constantly some sort of learning going on about how to relate to the environment and manage internal affairs. The initial founding and early stages of a company are fundamental. During the period, the company's behaviors and norms, especially the founders and key leaders, will set the company's culture for years. Schein described this period as a clarification, articulation, and elaboration. Okay, at a certain point, the company reached a midlife. This is when the company has stabilized with a number of learned anxiety avoidance and problem-solving behaviors. At this stage, new employees join the company without a deeper understanding of the context of how the culture was formed. It is also at this stage where understanding that context is crucial to make a change. To shift the culture, we need to deeply understand what makes the culture stable and why. So Schein notes that this period brings up a stressful strategic decision for many company leaders. Whether the organization needs to enhance the diversity to remain flexible to face the uncertain environment or create a more homogeneous, strong culture. It will become one of the most challenging strategic decision management confront, especially if senior manager is unaware of some of its own culture assumption. So finally, the culture reached a maturity or decline because either the market of the a company competes in mature of the culture has become excessively stable. At this point, change may be all but impossible because of how people attach to the underlying assumption. According to Schein, managed change will always be a painful process and will cause a strong resistance. Change may not be possible without replacing a large numbers of people who wish to hold on to all the original cultures. Okay, so how cultures created? Next, next slide, point. Okay. Where do cultures come from? Understanding this question is important in on how culture can be changed. An organization's culture is shaped as the organization faces external and internal challenges and learn how to deal with them. When the organization way of doing business provides a successful adaptation to environmental challenges and ensures success, those values are retained. These values and ways of doing business are retained, are trained to new members as the way to do business. The factors that are most important in the creation of an organization culture include founders' value, preferences, and industry demand. Wait. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Okay, we go to founder values. A company culture is tied to the personality, background, and values of its founder, as well as their vision to the future of the organization. When entrepreneurs establish their own businesses, the way they want to do business determines the organization rules, the structure set up in the company, and the people they hire to work with them. Founder values become part of the corporate culture to the degree to which they help the company to be successful. An organization culture begins with its founders and leaders. Founders set the tone, emphasizing what is most important and what should receive a lower priority. They are visionaries who provide a powerful role model for others to follow. Experts suggest that the company's culture sometimes reflect the founder's personality, and this cultural imprint often remains with the organization for a long time. Okay. Secondly is the industry demands. While founders certainly apply a powerful influence over corporate culture, the industry characteristic also play a role. Companies within a same industry can have a differing culture. At the same time, the industry characteristic and demands act as a force to create similarities among organizational cultures. For example, despite some differences, many companies in the insurance and banking industries are stable and rule-oriented. Many companies in the high-tech industry have innovative cultures, and those in the non-profit industry may be people-oriented. If the industry is one with the large number of regulatory requirements, for example, banking and healthcare industries, then they might expect the existence of a large number of rules and regulations and bureaucratic company structure. The industry influence of a culture is also important thing to know because it may not be possible to imitate a company culture in a different industry. Okay, how are cultures maintained? Okay, as a company mature, its culture values are refined and strengthened. So its future values influence the early values of a company's culture. It is possible to think of organizational culture as a organism that protect itself from external forces. Organizational culture determine what an organization hire types of people and what types of people are left out. Once new employees are hired, the company adapt new employees and teach them the way things are done in the organization. We call this process attraction, selection, attrition. Okay, and onboarding processes. We also examine the role of leaders and reward system in shaping and maintaining an organization culture. Okay, attraction, selection, attrition. Okay, means organizational culture is maintained through a process known as attraction, selection, and attrition. Okay, first, employees are attracted to organization where they will fit in. Someone who has a competitive nature may feel comfortable in and may prefer to work in a company where interpersonal competition is the norm. Others may prefer to work in a team-oriented workplace. Research shows that employees with different personality traits find different cultures attractive. Those who had openness to experience were more likely to be attracted to innovative cultures. The value of similarity is not only a reason a candidate might be attracted to a company. They may be other more powerful attraction, such as a good benefits. Okay, at this time, the second component of the framework prevent them from selecting. Just as candidates are looking for places where they will fit in, companies are also looking for people who will fit in into their current corporate culture. Many companies are hiring people to fit with their culture instead of fit with a particular job. Companies use different techniques to remove candidates who do not fit with the corporate culture. For example, Google relies on multiple interviews with future peers by introducing the candidate to several future workers and learn what these workers think of the candidates. It's become easier to assess the level of acceptance. Even after companies select people for the person who fit in the organization culture, they may be new employees who do not fit in. So some candidates may be skillful in impressing recruiters, even though they are not necessarily share the company values. Most of the organization will eliminate candidates who do not fit in the organization culture through attrition level. So attrition refers to the natural process where the candidates who do not to fit in will leave the company. Because of this process, the company attracts, select, and retain people who share its core values. Whereas those people who are different in core value will be excluded from the organization, either during the hiring process, or later on a natural occurring turnover. Here show organization culture will act as the self-defending organism. Okay, new employee onboarding. Another way in which organization values, norm, and behavioral pattern are conveyed to employees is through onboarding. It's also referred to as the organizational socialization process. Onboarding refers to the process through which new employees learn the attitude, knowledge, skill, and behavior required to function effectively within an organization. If organization can successfully socialize new employees into become organizational insiders, new employees will feel accepted by their peers and confident regarding their ability to perform. They will also understand and share the assumption, norms, and the value that are part of the organization's culture. Okay, this understanding and confidence in turn translate into the more effective new employees who perform better and have a higher job satisfaction. Organizations engage in different activities to facilitate onboarding, such as implementation orientation program or matching new employees with mentors. A formal orientation program coaches new employees to the company culture as well as introducing them to their new job clique. And orientation program has a role in making new employees feel welcome, in addition to imparting information that may help them to be successful in their new job. Many large organizations have formal orientation program consisting of lectures, video tips, or written material, while some may follow more informal approaches. Okay, we go to go to leadership element. Okay, leaders are instrumental in creating and changing an organization culture. There is a direct correspondence between the leader style and organization culture. For example, when leaders motivate employees through inspiration, corporate culture tend to be more supportive and people-oriented. So the leader's own behavior will signal to individuals what is acceptable behavior and what is unacceptable. In an organization where the high-level managers make the effort to involve others in decision-making and seek others' opinion, a team-oriented culture is more likely to change. By acting as a role models, leaders send signals to the organization about the norms and the values that are expected to guide the action of its members. Leaders also shape culture by their reaction to the action of others around them. For example, they compliment a job well done, or they compliment a favor employees regardless of what was accomplished. So how do they react when someone admits to making an honest mistake? So through their day-to-day action, leaders shape and maintain the organization's culture. Okay, finally, the corporate culture is shaped by the type of reward system used in the organization and the kinds of behavior and outcomes it chooses to reward and punish. One relevant element of the reward system is whether the organization reward behavior or result. Some companies have reward system that emphasize intangible elements of performance as well as more easily observed. Some companies, supervisors and peers may evaluate an employee's performance by assessing the person behavior as well as the results. So a reward system is one tools managers can apply when undertaking the controlling function. So this diagram can be concluded that organizational culture are created by a variety of factors, including founders' value and preferences, industry demand, and early values, goals, and assumption. Culture is maintained through attraction, selection, attrition, new employees onboarding, leadership, and organizational reward system. Sign of a company culture include the organization mission statement, stories, physical layout rules, and politics, and also rituals. Okay. Next. Okay, here we choose a McDonald's as a case study, so we can look at the stage of founding and early stages for the McDonald's. In 1955, Rick Kroc found and opened first restaurant in Des Plaines, Illinois. Today, there are more than 33,000 restaurants in 119 countries. Even though Kroc died in 1984, his legacy very much alive until now. His commitment, dedication, and achievement continue to live on across the world. Rick Kroc established McDonald's on the basis of providing customer quality, service, cleanliness, and value. McDonald's success since its founder opened the first restaurant in 1955 with a very strong culture. Kroc builds a restaurant system known as the food of consistently high quality and uniform methods of preparation. Okay. An organization's culture must embrace a foundation which is a vision statement that express the organization's goal and values in a way to motivate people and encourage them to align themselves with it. So McDonald's vision statement is quality, service, convenience, and value. These four words also represent Kroc's guiding values and shared value system. They form the basis in which McDonald's makes all of the business decision. Okay, so in the mid-life stages, McDonald's emphasizes human resource development and efficiency. These two factors contribute to business growth and success in the international fast food restaurant market. McDonald's has set up 4 characteristics to set up the organizational culture in this stage. So, okay, like you can see on the screen, okay, these are 4 characteristics: people centricity, individual learning, organizational learning, and diversity and inclusion. Okay, in the midlife stages, McDonald's acknowledge the mission, brand promise. Next slide. Acknowledge the mission, brand promise, and values as a culture for all employees in McDonald's to build a customer trust. Because in every part of the values that McDonald's set up, they will focus on the customer needs and satisfaction. So to deliver the best services that align with McDonald's values, they provide intensive training to every employee to learn about the operational standards, provide training tools, and provide job training. Provide job training with the coach and classroom training. Okay. Actually, Kroc wanted to build a restaurant system that will be known for food of consistently high quality and uniform method of preparation. He wanted to ensure repeat business based on the system reputation rather than on the quality of a single store. So Kroc knew this would require a continuing program of education and assisting operators. Then he built a hamburger university offering a degree in a hamburgerology. So at this university, franchises, managers and assistant managers are trained into the culture that is McDonald's. What is McDonald's is. So after graduation, each hamburgerologist must carry the brand and the breed of the corporate loyalty, the esprit corps of the McDonald's. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, at the maturity stage, McDonald's has grown to build a network of over 35,000 locations in more than 100 countries. The culture that have been set up by the McDonald's adapted by all over the world. So as we know, the McDonald's restaurant chain is well known for its globally standardized product, service, and operating policies. Respecting the strategies of standardizing worldwide, the company introduced their branding with a tagline, "I'm loving it." So at the same time, in all the business covered in countries and regions, it comes with the same brand image and the same series of advertisement. So McDonald's has a reposition its target consumer group from family with children into teenagers and young generation, with not only a uniform quality standard but also a standardized marketing strategy. Okay, McDonald's has reached a balance between standardization and adaptation. Keeping some of their American style, they also realize that they have to make certain changes to adapt themselves to other countries' culture at the same time if they would like to survive in the emerging market. So McDonald's show respect to different aspects of other culture and make some changes on their products and service considering the taste, values, customs, dining habits, and language. But they have taken different measures to some extent. Okay. And McDonald's packaging has set up a new direction for the brand, which is being modernized and made more progressive because it's a dynamic and straightforward. The packaging almost acts as a mobile billboard for the McDonald's. So they have had a quite tough time, but they still deliver the best since so many people love this brand. So this means that McDonald's has to be playful with the type and the design. So McDonald's has committed to sourcing 100% of all its fiber-based packaging from recycled or certified sources in this year 2020. McDonald's was proud of their progress since this initiative are important to care about the environment. Okay, next. Okay, here we can see that McDonald's committed to providing a great workplace and exciting career journey. As a result, McDonald's Malaysia has been recognized with the number of HR awards. So next, we'll discover on how to assess a company culture. According to the Schein, there are 4 ways to assess a culture. First, analyzing the process and content of socialization of new members, analyzing responses to critical incidents in the organization history. Next, analyzing belief, values, and assumptions of culture creators and carriers. And last one is jointly exploring and analyzing with insider the anomalies and puzzling features observed and uncovered in interviews. Okay, so every organization has a culture, and every culture has a three components. First one is organization rules, traditions, and people. So the specific of a good culture differ from company to company, but there are a few general qualities of a good culture that we should aim for, whether industry, in whatever industry and mission. A good culture should be well defined and understood, embraced by the people in the company, aligned with the organization mission, and beneficial to the long-term success of the company. So actually, we don't have much control over our culture if we don't clearly define it. Okay, so written statement will help employees understand better about the culture. It's also good to take time to discuss the organization's culture. Maybe at the annual retreat, so everyone will understand and knows how they can play a role in developing to involve to develop the culture of the organization. Okay, the people who work in the organization must believe in the purpose of the company and what company has set out to achieve. To start, the leaders in the organization must practice the culture themselves, interact with employees the way we want them to interact with us. So leaders have to interact with the employees about the organization culture. So each new person in the organization will bring in something new to the culture, new habit, new perspective, or new ideas. So encourage employees to make the culture their own, encourage them to contribute. Okay, so supposedly company have to encourage employees to be innovative. Don't put up with the mistakes. So employees would avoid sharing new ideas since they be worried they might be make a mistake. Okay, so next we want to know how strategies change and to strengthen the organizational culture. Okay, action of next. Dah sampai sini dah. Okay. Okay. Action of founders and leaders. Founders establish an organization culture, but the subsequent CEOs can sometimes reshape that culture. Okay, leaders play an important symbolic roles of in organizational culture change. Employee watch managers at all levels of the organization to determine how serious they are about changing the culture and how the culture translates into their behavior. So anything managers say or do that is consistent with the desired culture will potentially lead the organization towards that culture. Okay, second one is aligning artifact. Artifacts represent more than just a visible indicator of a company culture. They are also mechanisms that keep the culture in place. So leaders can play an active role in creating memorable events that later become the stories. And leaders also play an important storytelling roles by seeking out employee experiences compatible with the desired culture and telling others about those incidents. Ritual and ceremonies can also be altered to fit the new culture mandate. If a manager wants to instill a more open communication, they might keep their office door open and move completely out of their office into the open space. Okay, next one is introducing culturally consistent reward. No. Okay, reward system artifacts that often have a powerful influence on the direction of the organization culture. So that we describe them here as a separate culture change strategy. Okay, On selecting and socializing employees, applicants are carefully screened to ensure they have a compatible value. So organizations strengthen and sometimes reshape their corporate culture by hiring people with values and assumptions similar to those culture. Okay. Okay, next. Next, okay. So every company struggle for great, positive, and nurturing culture, but few organizations actually achieve because of these 6 factors. First one, top-down management. The boss does not want to hear from anyone else and just tell employees what to do without hearing their input. Second one, working alone. It creates a feeling of disconnection with colleague and non-collaborative thinking. Third one is information hoarding. Employees keep information about their roles and duties to themselves and refuse teach others because they fear that they can be easily replaced. Okay, the fourth one, focusing on blame. Damaging culture, find and assign blame and ignores solution-based thinking. Okay. Fifth one, hiding opportunities. A team member attempt to hide problems and employees turn their heads when they see something wrong. It restrict continuous improvement. And the last one is applauding the status quo. If employees are afraid to fail, they will really try or suggest something new when they could come up with truly ideas. So the organization should be able to develop the culture. If these issues happen in the organization, it's not too late to fix them. Looking for a solution together and start again, then employees and then organization have to set up a place where employees will love to work. Okay, next. Okay, next. Okay, okay. This is the element of organization with strong versus weak culture. Okay, strong culture. We can define a culture of company. If we can define a culture of company, so we can also define how strong the culture is. According to Schein, the strength or amount of culture can be defined in terms of, the first one is homogeneity or equality and of group membership. And second, the length and intensity of shared experiences of the group. So if company has to navigate many crises to survival, it will likely have formed a strong culture. If the company has not been around long and relatively easy to succeed, it may have a weaker culture. This can set the company up for disaster when they face their first challenge. So it is important to realize that culture strength does not mean effective. Strong culture sometimes doesn't serve anymore. For example, Kodak, which was known for having a great branding and marketing culture, but failed to adapt to the shifting digital photography landscape. Okay. And okay, no matter what level organization or type of organization, the best way to understand culture is to understand its underlying stories of the culture of the organization. Okay, so next. Okay, these are key elements of effective organization. Okay, culture is linked to and affected by each area of the organization will, because it is about how people in the organization behave. So it can be either a powerful supporter or a real barrier to implementing a strategic change. Leaders who need to change a culture have to support with strategy and need to determine what level in other areas of organization will support the right behavior. For example, this may include choices about what people to have in the organization, how to align them to prioritize and motivate them, and who has a decision-making authority, and how people are expected to work together using the key processes. Okay, next. But we have to realize that a strong culture also has disadvantages. So a strong culture is not always good because organization will be difficult to change and may reduce the performance. Could be beneficial at one point but not at another, can be a liability during a merger as each separate culture must merge together. And studies show that organizations with adaptive cultures have the highest performance. Okay, and next. Okay, from the various, next. Okay, from the various literature shows that people and the environment are the most factors that influence organizational culture. Okay, organizational culture is not a uniform, and the factors influence organizational culture differ in urban, rural, and suburban agencies. Supervisors influence workers' social, cognitive, and behavioral competencies. And effective supervision promotes workers' positive view of organizational culture and higher levels of self-efficiency. Effective supervision is linked to an organizational culture that promotes evidence-based practice. An organizational culture that promotes evidence-based improve retention. Organizations that encourage humanistic and self-actualizing cultural norms associated with improved employee recruitment and retention, including a higher level of work-life fit and job satisfaction. So agencies should attempt to improve professional development training and expand the use of evidence-based practice, and also have to increase supervisory support, awareness, and flexibility. Okay. You can see from the slide, this is a pastel chart. Okay. The moment we say I'm satisfied with that, that means a stagnation has come. So satisfaction can become a complacent. This can lead to stagnation and loss of sales, market share, and even talent to a competitor. So pastel analysis has served pastel analysis serve as a practical taxonomy for analyzing the macro environmental factors affecting business. Each of the pastel factors may represent constraint or opportunities depending on circumstances. Since I think everyone have heard about the pastels, so I just explain in short about this. Okay. The first factor is political factors, include the government ability and willingness to provide services such as healthcare and transportation. So political factors will influence on business through tax policy, tariff, and regulation. Also political factors. In some cases, even the stability of the government could be a factor. Okay, second one is economic factor, include the business cycle as well as trends in growth rate, interest rate, and inflation. Okay, third one is social factors, include demographic influences such as a population growth and a median workforce age, as well as education level and cultural norm about work by different strata of the population. Okay. Next is technology factors, include emerging technologies, new communication method, or automation. Okay. Then seems like political, but it could include a variation in regional laws and a reliability in law enforcement and the court system. And ecological factors include all forms of natural resources conservation and management, including water, oil, and land. Okay, so to conclude our presentation today, organizational culture is a reality of every organization's life, health and survivability. whether or not a company has defined organizational culture that serve their strategic plan. They have a culture. Actually, they have a culture. Whether strong, indifferent, or weak, every company has a culture. So every organization has a reputation among its employees, its partners, customer, competitors, environment, and the community. So when an organization can control the factors that influence their culture, so organization will continue to survive. Okay. So that's all. That's all from me. Okay. Okay. For the reference, this is just our reference for this presentation. Okay. Okay. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Good job. I think it's quite extensive, and you've covered a lot about organization culture, basically including organization culture, and also you've touched a bit about national cultures. Well, that's good. Anyone has any comments or questions that require that you'd want further elaboration? Anyone? Any points of discussion?
Prof, just give opinion
Yeah.
in the government sector. Sometimes organization culture ni depends on new leaders, because when they come new leaders, they will change the new culture, new procedure of works, and then for me leader is the main factor that influence organization culture in the government sector, because when it's come with new leader or new top management, they will change it because they want to create a new legacy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like for a new legacy for some new KKPA, they want to be work faster. Rather before they more to people oriented. This just my opinion, Prof.
Well, true. Yes, founders have a very strong influence on the cultures of organizations, and as leaders, I suppose you have your say, and you have the ability to influence how people behave, and in that sense, also how people think, which is important in determining what gets done and how things get done. Yes, in a way, that also is about culture. But I think over a period of time, there's also that underlying dominant culture that goes. I think that is still permanent in all organizations. Of course, when leaders come in, they change things. That happens, right? Of course, in Malay we say sekali air banjir, sekali pasir berubah, right? So for those who are not familiar with Malay proverbs, it says every time there's a flood, there will be a shift in the sands, right? So it's the same thing. Every time a leader comes in, there'll be changes in how we do things and how we are expected to behave in the organization. True. Any others?
Dr. Keaton, I just would like to have some clarification. Yeah. Maybe I'm confused on the three level.
Three levels. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I will go through them.
Now.
I will go through.
Yeah, because we already start with the assignment. So maybe we already have some idea.
All right.
But in my based on my understanding, so these three models.
Yes.
So is it the underlying assumption from outsider, or what I understand is that the assumption is like, if let's say we go into one organization, one company, but what they do, what they behave is the value, but it's not the one that been told. The underlying one, the one that you have to be there in order for you to understand, or I know I'm quite confused.
It's all right. Okay, don't worry about that. Right? When we talk about assumptions are the deepest level of culture according to Schein's model. Right? It's the deepest level of organization culture in the sense that assumptions are what we believe to be true. So it is held by members of the organizations. What you assume to be good, right? What you believe about how you do things at the organization, right? For example, there must be integrity. If you assume that integrity is going to be important, if you believe that integrity is important and ethical, then you are going to be acting ethical all the while, because that is actually going to be translated into the ethics of the organization, which is the espoused values, right? So underlying assumptions are the beliefs that, so in this example, if you believe that honesty, right, that you must act correctly at all times, because you believe that being correct and acting honestly all the time is good for the organization and is good for business, right? And that is actually going to be translated into values that is espoused. Espoused means that it is being taught, it is being recommended, right? It is being shared throughout the organization. Everyone must behave honestly in the sense, right? And that is the espoused beliefs and values, right? You have the espoused beliefs and values. I put just espoused values because beliefs comes under the assumptions, right? It's what you believe. And then the artifacts are what you can actually see. Behavior is an artifact. How people behave. People behaving honestly. People doing work correctly, right? Behavior is an artifact because you can actually see with your naked eye what is happening. And that also includes all the other things that actually can be seen in an organization. I will go deeper into this and provide some examples later on. But yes, it's very important to understand these three levels of culture in order to understand Schein's model of organization culture. I will explain also later through some examples. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anything else?
Okay, Assalamualaikum Dr. Gideon.
Yes,
Dr.
Salam.
Okay, I think the one question about the item 8 for the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
We can refer the item 8. I think the
Slide 8.
yeah, no, item 8 in the strong and weak culture.
Oh, strong and weak culture, item 8.
Yes. Okay. So
Put it down. Okay.
okay.
This one?
This one to me a bit confused because this one the strong and then weak culture. Is it these all things discover and include the factor and system and then element of the organization in culture? Can this group can elaborate? This one include for the all items is include to the factor everything, because in that to me if I see that the table to me is summary of the organization culture. So that's why the strong and then weak. That's why I need the clarification from this group. Okay, thank you, Dr. Gideon.
Right.
The list, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
The list is just, it's not happen to be all strong culture company have to have this all list. It's just macam so part of it maybe applied to the strong to the company that have strong organizational culture. Same goes to the weak culture. It's just an example only.
So this is not a comprehensive and exhaustive list of factors that differentiates between an organization's strong culture and a weak culture. But you can see within a strong culture are those things that are being, I suppose, that happens within the organization. So a strong organization is more likely to share values, to act consistently, to have staff who understand what they are doing, and people all doing the same things, right? Why? Because they have a very strong belief on what is true or what is worthwhile to be done within the organization, right? What is good for the organization? And that belief carries on through the values that they hold. And as such, for example, if they believe that hard work is important, then the behavior will be people will be working hard in order to achieve something, right? So you have a much more consistent, uniform behavior among the members of the organization. As opposed to a weak culture, it is very loose in the sense that people may behave differently. Why? Because there is no one trust, right? There's no one solid foundation or belief on what is going to be done and how it should be done, right? So let me illustrate later on also how this can be used as an example. Good. I think that there are two pertinent questions here. Anything else that maybe you want me to allude to or touch later when I explain or when I review organization culture? All right. Let me just yes. Anything?
Yeah, okay, just want to ask about the development of organization culture. Is it the development of how to this OC started? I mean, in organization or as a whole, the how it
Well, how
developed?
an organization develops a culture,
Yeah, all right.
right?
Okay.
So it is how people adopt certain behaviors, how people adopt certain beliefs within an organization, right?
Yeah.
So usually, in most cases, there is a strong role that is being played by the founder of the organization who sets the rules and the standards, right? On what is expected to be done and how things should be done within the organization. So that falls usually on the founder and later on the leadership within the organization. So they actually have much say in what the organization is all about and what are the expectations of behaviors and outcomes within the organization. And as that goes through, that is being embedded. It is being inculcated by the members of the organization. This is what enculturation is all about, right? So for example, in UPM now, we have encultured a belief that we must do research and we must publish. That is the culture that we have now. How was it being developed? Well, it all began with that emphasis on the importance of publication and research. And after a while, people began to adopt it. People began to believe that is the way things should be done at UPM. And soon you will see that everyone will practice it because the leaders will continue to espouse the value of doing research and writing. All right. Now we will see how some organizations develop their culture. Let me share my thoughts on this. Okay. All right, let's get straight to the first presentation. Of course, the group has already talked about what culture is all about, but let me just differentiate between the difference between culture and climate, right? A lot of people talk about organization culture and organization climate interchangeably, but it is not. Culture is different. Culture is all about the shared assumption of beliefs that members of the organization hold on, right? So they believe what is the appropriate behavior and appropriate value to be held by each member of the organization, and that is actually shared throughout the organization. So it begins in Schein's own, I suppose, model is that it begins with an underlying assumption of what is good for the organization. It's what has been proven to work in the organization, right? If the organization believes that, yes, being nice to customers is important, then people will begin to act, right? For example, McDonald's, right? You give a lot of examples of McDonald's. McDonald's talks about a culture of precision. Why is precision important? Because they want to make sure that their products are uniform, are consistent throughout the world, right? They have over 33,000 outlets throughout the world. And they want to make sure that the Big Mac in Malaysia is the same as the Big Mac in the US. It's the same as the Big Mac in Saudi Arabia. It's the same as the Big Mac in China. And it's the same as the Big Mac in Brazil or Lagos for that matter, right? So that is a culture of precision. And for that culture of precision, they have set up a standard operations procedure on how they want to have their products processed, right? McDonald's fries, well, I think most of us, including me, I like McDonald's fries the most because somehow they have the right consistency, they have the right texture, right? Crispy on the outside and still soft in the inside, right? And to get that all over the world, right? You buy fries in Kuala Lumpur, you buy fries in Ipoh, you buy fries in Penang, you buy fries in JB, they are all the same. You buy fries in Singapore, Thailand, right? You buy fries in Jakarta, you buy fries in Tokyo, you buy fries in Seoul, you buy fries in, well, London. They all taste the same. Why? Because McDonald's has a very strict processing or standard operations procedure in producing their fries, right? They have certain, I suppose, producers, and in the US,